I first went to New York. I made a connection with Magnum, but it took a few years past before I joined Magnum, actually. And in 1962, when I got my act together, to go to Greece with the intent of doing a book on Greece, I packed. I don't know if I mentioned this because I forget. I packed this huge steamer trunk with my darkroom trays, my larger, all this stuff that I would need to make a darkroom. And I got an advance from Frank Taylor, a wonderful man who was the president of a big publishing company, and I can't remember the name right now. At any rate, and so he gave me a big chunk of money that allowed me to ship this trunk to Greece. I went to Germany, bought 2 Leicas at the factory. I bought a Volkswagen, drove down to Athens, got a little apartment, set up a darkroom, realized that I needed a darkroom sink, so I asked the Greeks what was the cheapest material to build a darkroom sink from, and they said marble. So I went to the place where they make the tombstones next to the cemetery and gave them the dimensions for a sink. I was going to put it in my kitchen, and where the regular sink was. And they said, okay, well, it'll be ready in a week and a half or whatever. So I went back and I asked them if they could deliver it to this address, and they said, no, we only deliver to the cemetery. So I got my Greek friends, we got this little truck thing and brought, anyway, so I had a dark room because I couldn't function without a dark room, making prints, developing my film. So while I was in Greece, like towards the end of the first year, I learned that there was a Greek law, that if you were a Greek and had not been in the army, you would be drafted into the Greek army. And I said, well, I was born in America. I have never lived in Greece. They say you have to prove that you have to prove that you're not Greek. And of course, I couldn't prove that I was not Greek. Okay, so I got in my little Volkswagen, left Athens before the year was out, drove to Paris, visited the Magnum office because I kind of knew them. I had done some work for Magnum in New York. And left a box of prints from my Greek portfolio work in the Paris office. Left it, went back to Athens. Later on, I was on an island, a wonderful island with a wonderful village where I did a lot of work. And my mail was forwarded to me from Athens by my friend Mary. Inside it was a letter from Magnum Photos saying, "Dear Constantine, we have had an annual meeting and you're invited to become a member." On the basis of that box of prints I took to Paris. So of course I was ecstatic, that was my dream. And I had no one to share my joy with. So that's another one of those stories about, what happened